Hello, good evening, viewers, wherever you're watching us from. This is Lono TV, and I'm your host, Clarius J.R. We, of course, sincerely apologize for bringing the program late. We had some technical difficulties, but we thank God those difficulties have been resolved, and we are here. And like we promised, today we are having an interview with Honorable Mr. Leroy Masawa, the councilor for Mulilansolo Ward. At this point in time, allow me to welcome you to our program, Mr. Masawa.
Thank you so much.
I don't know which is which. Are we going with Mr. Masawa, or perhaps they are...
Just stick to Mr. Nsofo.
Okay, Mr. Nsofo. 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 Okay. It's quite evident.
Yeah,
the energy can be seen.
I'm humbled to be here.
Sure. Yeah. All right. So today we are discussing the development of Kasama in respect with Mulilansolo Ward, where Mr. Nsofo is coming from. So please, maybe just a bit of an introduction to those of our viewers who might not know who Mr. Nsofo is.
Well, Mr. Nsofo is the councillor for Mulilansolo Ward.
Okay.
And I'm very humbled to have had this privilege.
Sure.
To come and explain a few issues on how we forge ahead.
Sure.
That's the most important aspect right now, is how we forge ahead.
Exactly.
And not to look at the past and how we did not progress in terms of development, and how we intend to move forward.
Absolutely. Exactly. All right. That is Honorable Mr. Nsofo Leroy Masawa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
All right. So right about now, let us just go for a short break, and when we come back, we get to continue with our interview with Honorable Nsofo, the ward councillor for Mulilansolo Ward. So please stay tuned, and remember to give us your comment about our today's topic in as much as you understand it. What do you think needs to be done in terms of development when we talk about Kasama district and of course Mulilansolo Ward? All right, so right about now, let us go for a short break. Remember to share this live stream, and please give us your comments on what you think is really supposed to be done.
We show you how the face of Kasama has changed each and every moment. Our production crew has now advanced in streaming live in full HD up to 4K. Lono Studios is well equipped for the service. We have 4K cameras for high resolution, DJI drone for aerial view, live streaming video switcher, gimbal for smooth rotation of an object, and many more equipments. You can book us for live streaming to render your services in sport activities, church services, road shows, corporate meetings and workshops, social gatherings, and many more adventure activities. Book your session now on 0973 173461. Visit or like our Facebook page at Lono TV. Love ain't no bonus.
Right, love and nobleness is what we stand for as Lono TV. And please, like I said, remember to actually comment what you think about today's topic. And of course, please share this live stream. If you're catching us live, please share the live stream so that we can have so many people engaged and of course communicated to. So Mr. Masawa, welcome back again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, so we are talking about development in Kasama. What is your general perspective when we talk about development in Kasama? What comes to your mind when you hear development in Kasama?
Well, first and foremost, development is a general term.
Sure.
There's infrastructure development.
Yes.
There's the social welfare of the people.
Yes,
and
of course.
Of course, the business environment as well at large.
Sure.
So when that term comes forward,
sure,
I think there's a lot of aspects that come into play and which can be discussed.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So since we talk of so many things that can be discussed when we talk about development, perhaps let us talk of an area which we must focus on, especially for today's interview. We are talking about Mulilansolo Ward. So perhaps some other people might not know, especially the residents of Kasama. Some people do not even know what ward they belong to. So when we say you're coming from Mulilansolo Ward, perhaps just a few areas that you can make mention of that Mulilansolo Ward is comprised of.
Right. Firstly, to start with, Mulilansolo is the biggest ward in Kasama constituency.
Okay.
And Kasama constituency currently has 9 wards.
All right.
Mulilansolo being the biggest.
Okay.
Last year, there was an extension, or rather an addition to 3 more areas to Mulilansolo, namely Lualuo,
Okay.
Lukulu South,
All right.
and Chimbele.
Sure.
So Mulilansolo Ward is actually divided into 10 zones.
Okay.
So these 10 zones are namely Lukulu South itself, Chimbele, Lualuo. We come to Newtown. We come to Mulenga Hill. We come to Town Center, and we go as far as Zambia Road. That all belongs to
Mulilansolo.
Mulilansolo, of course.
All right, interesting. Quite a big area.
Exactly.
And of course, one thing that we must mention is that Mulilansolo Ward also comprises of the town center itself.
Precisely.
Indeed. All right. So, talking of Mulilansolo Ward and you being the councillor, perhaps let me just ask this question. What really inspired you to actually stand for this particular ward? Why not any other ward, but instead you chose to be the ward councillor for Mulilansolo Ward?
My parents are from here. This is where I'm from.
All right.
So this is exactly where I intend to see growth.
All right.
When you come up from an area with very little development, you have the drive to participate in fostering development. So my core is basically to work with the people on the ground.
Okay.
To see how we can foster development and bring change and see a few developmental issues being addressed and see that the people of Mulilansolo are well represented.
Indeed. And talking of representing the people of Mulilansolo, some people might not understand when they see certain things happening in the ward. They start talking of where are our leaders, and why are these things not attended to? And perhaps you might want to make it clear what is your role as a ward councillor in Mulilansolo Ward? What exactly are you supposed to do, and what are some of the things that you can't do?
Right.
In short, what is your role in terms of fostering development in Mulilansolo Ward?
Right. As a councillor, I'm a servant of the people of Mulilansolo. So I basically bridge the gap between the community and the council.
Okay.
So I represent the community in the council, address the problems they're facing, and see that we all address these things collectively. Because if I don't address the problems, or if I don't represent the people's problems, then who am I representing? Then my role as a councillor is in vain.
Okay.
So that aspect of breaching the gap, you have to bridge the gap between the council and the community as well.
Okay.
So that's my role, to basically be the mouthpiece for the community, to foster development and address issues which the community is facing.
Okay, interesting. And talking of the problems that the community is facing, and we are relating Mulilansolo, we are calling out Mulilansolo Ward to be a ward that consists of the town center and of course many other residential areas. Perhaps you as the ward councillor, what are some of the challenges that you think the people of Mulilansolo are facing as we speak now, and perhaps just the general challenges? Of course, there are those minor challenges, but what are those big challenges that you think the people of Mulilansolo Ward are facing as we speak right now?
Okay. First and foremost, we'll look at the youth. The youth are faced with a lot of unemployment.
Okay.
They have basically nothing to do. Most of them have been to school, and they don't have formal employment. Women out there are trying as much as they can to trade, but they don't have the working capital. So it's very, very challenging with regards to the social and economic impact that the town is facing. There's a lot of issues which need to be addressed with regards to that aspect.
Okay.
And secondly, the infrastructure development. I mean, the road situation, it's a year in, year out situation where the roads are in a terrible condition. And the neighborhoods, if you take time to go to Lukulu South, which is of course an inclusion in Mulilansolo, it's a disaster. So now people from there who are involved in farming activities who have a challenge to bring their produce to the market, because they have a challenge with the roads. So of course the transporters will also take advantage of the bad roads and overcharge them.
Overcharge the
so
people.
Those issues which the ground level is facing are very, very critical for national development as well. Those are just a few to mention. The challenges which
the people,
the many challenges.
Okay, interesting. And again, talking of the challenges, we are just like if we are just a month and a few weeks in 2022. Perhaps these are the challenges that you've talked of. We can say these are challenges that are coming way back from last year and these other years that have passed. Perhaps what do you think was done wrongly such that we are still talking about the same challenges year in and year out, as you mentioned? So perhaps what was done wrongly that should be done differently this time around in order to combat these challenges that you've talked about?
I think first and foremost, one of the biggest challenges which was there was the implementation part.
Okay.
Because the planning was done.
Yes.
Even when we're having council. Oh, by the way, I'm the chairperson for the finance committee for the council.
Okay, interesting.
So we overlook the finances of the previous financial years and try and analyze and see where issues were.
Yes.
And address them. So some of the challenges which were there were lack of implementation.
Okay. Plans
were there, but not implemented.
Okay.
So we questioned why the implementation was there. The reason was lack of funding.
Okay.
So already implementation cannot be there if
there is no funding. Yes.
So lack of finances to fund some of these projects was one of the biggest hurdles which I found currently. To say, okay, there was all these plans to do the upgrade of the roads, to do a whole lot of building clinics, but lack of funding for those infrastructure projects led to the mishap and the drawback.
All right. And perhaps these same plans that you are talking of, where do you think maybe, because of course some things were done and some other things were not done. If we talk of some certain roads were done and perhaps not just completed. Would you attribute those some of those things that were done as to maybe misappropriation of funds? Instead of doing certain project, some projects are done which are not really beneficial to the people.
I wouldn't call it misappropriation of funds, because then I would be using the wrong term.
Sure.
I think it was more or less channeling funds to different sectors and different areas.
Okay.
So if there was upgrade of the Chambeshi Kasama road and upgrade of 20 kilometers of urban roads to Ashford, and that's not done, but it's in the plan. It only tells you that funds were not channeled for that project, but diverted to maybe other precisely, which I found to be one of the biggest problems. Because if we're going to plan to execute a project, I think funding should also be part of
the consideration.
Precisely, so that you do account for how you intend to execute with
that
the project.
Particular project, not just planning for
not
it
just
without
planning,
looking
but
at
planning
where
for the money as well.
Okay, so in short, most of the plans were just done in admiration to say, okay, this can be a good project, but then there wasn't much of the planning
consideration
of
to say, okay,
where is the fund coming from.
Precisely.
Okay. All right. So some of these projects that you've talked about, are those projects just planned under the council, or maybe perhaps just generally for Kasama? Are those
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Kasama Municipal Council falls under the local government.
yes,
And the local government, of course, is the
is
government.
the government,
So
sure.
already the funding has to come from the
From the
government
government,
to the
yes.
council to the community,
Yes.
to everyone else.
Okay.
So already if there's a mishap or there's a bit of a problem in that chain,
yes.
then the grassroots, which is the community, will not
Will
get the
also be
benefits.
affected.
So it was that hurdle
Yes.
which I found personally to be one of the biggest challenges.
Okay, interesting. All right, I hope you are with us. Our viewers, please give us your contribution as we are talking about how we can develop Kasama. Of course, moving forward, as Mr. Sofu actually earlier mentioned, we are looking at how we can move forward as Kasama and see development come in our district. Please give us your comments if you have any questions that you would like the Honorable Ward Councillor to actually clarify. You are free to just comment, and unfortunately we cannot allow calls to come through at the moment, but you are free to comment what you think about today's topic, and if there is anything that you would like the Honorable Councillor to clarify. Right about now, let us go for another short break, and when we come back, we continue with this interview.
Lono Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As Lono Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than Lono Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at Lono ZM.
Right, welcome back, and right about now I am going to just go through some of the comments that you've been sending, and remember, please share this live stream so that we can have so many people benefit from this live stream, or rather give us your contribution on what you think should be done in order to develop Kasama. All right, and my first comment is coming from Teza Breed Kankonje, who is saying, watching you, big man. I believe that is dedicated to you. And of course, we have Chewe Bwalia, who is saying, that is my man. Okay, I believe this is also going straight to you. Watching you from Molenga Hills, Beta Roads, boss. That is Cynthia Bwalia. Okay, Cynthia Bwalia. And we have Naomi Chivale, who is saying, watching clearly from location. We also have Miriam MC, who is saying, this is great following. And Cynthia Bwalia continues on and says, airport is P1. I don't know what you mean by that. If you can please just resend that comment and give it a little bit of clarity. All right, and we have Miss Angela Chewe, who is saying, Kasama has wise young men. Thank you so much. And we have Mr. Jimmy K. Jimmy saying, watching from Molenga. All right, those are some of the comments that we have received so far. Please give us your comment in regard to today's topic. All right, coming back to you, Honorable Ward Councillor, Mr. Nsofu. This last year, the government announced that they will be bringing in CDF. That is one of the things that were announced in terms of a 2022 budget, and it was, I think, estimating something like 25 million kwacha dedicated to each district. According to you, what is your expectation in with regard to this budget that was announced by the government?
Well, first and foremost, it's a huge step towards decentralization, because as we are aware, CDF was at 1.6 million per constituency. So now it has been upgraded to 25.7.
Okay.
So my expectations are really
So that is
huge.
per district.
Per
Per
constituency.
okay, interesting.
Precisely.
Even better. Thank you
Precisely.
so much for that correction.
So the whole 156 constituencies
Mhm.
will have 25.7 million each,
Okay.
as stated, of course, by His Excellency the President.
Sure.
So from the CDF, there will be apportionment towards different sectors and different areas.
Mhm.
So there's the youth empowerment,
Yes.
which will have an apportionment from the 25.7.
Yes.
Of course, after the local government workshop is done, which is
Mhm.
currently going on in Livingston, they are actually setting up guidelines to see how apportionment will be done.
Okay.
So there's youth empowerment, there's women empowerment,
Mhm.
there's infrastructure development, the disabled who are,
Yes.
I think, the most vulnerable in society are also catered for. So it's exciting to see that
To-
we
Yeah.
will have at least Kasama will see
Oh.
change for once, so that we are all moving a step forward with regards to activities on the ground.
Okay, you being somebody who is actually on the board when it comes to making these financial decisions, and of course you have the privilege to be the councillor for Mulilansolo Ward. President, let's say, okay, let's take it further to say constituents level. This might sound funny, but say you are the man in charge of those funds. They owe 25 million. What would you actually consider as the first priorities to be handled in your in the constituents before we get to Mulilansolo Ward? What do you think should benefit more, or where should the money be channeled to?
Well, first and foremost, we have to look at the health sector. The
Okay.
health sector is very, very important.
Mhm.
We'll look at education, we'll look at infrastructure, and of
Okay.
course, the empowerment situation.
Mhm.
Because if people cannot put food on their table, they don't
Yes.
have sufficient funds, they have no means to feed their families.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no community to look out for
Sure.
the next day or the future.
Sure.
So so like I said, the guidelines, of course, will give us a direction with
Mhm.
which percentage goes to youth empowerment,
And which
which percentage goes to women empowerment. But of
Okay.
course, if you look at Kasama General Hospital,
Mhm.
if you go to the children's ward, they have the ICU section.
Yes.
The ICU section for the children is very small.
Mhm.
It can't accommodate all the babies which are born in most cases.
Sure,
So we
sure.
find some do pass away, and that's very very sad.
Actually. Yes.
We find they've got very limited incubators.
Mhm.
So those are some of the issues which the
Needs
CDF
to
has
be.
to come in and help with.
Mhm.
So moving forward, I'm very pleased that Kasama will move a step further with, of course, the
Right.
pronunciation, with the increment from the earlier 1.6
yes.
to 25.27.
Okay, all right. Bringing
Mhm.
it back to perhaps a smaller entity, which is Mulilansolo Ward, where you are coming from as the ward councillor. In terms of infrastructure development, what do you think needs to be worked on in Mulilansolo Ward?
Well, first and foremost, the road network is pathetic.
Yes.
It's been pathetic for the longest. I'm not even going to lie.
Yes.
The drainage system is pathetic.
Mhm.
So there are all those projects which, of course, need serious attention.
Sure. So
Um,
one is the road network.
The road network needs to be
within-
worked on.
Okay.
The lighting system, the street lights. In as much as we have a situation where there's a cost going to the street lights,
Mhm.
how about we replace the street lights with solar lights?
Yeah.
Because then we'll not pay ZESCO as
Sure.
much as the council is paying ZESCO.
Mhm.
So if we replace that with solar light, street lights,
Mhm.
I mean, it will be at no cost. Only the capital purchase cost will be
Sure.
incurred. But
Sure.
the daily liabilities of buying power will be a thing of the past.
Yes,
So
because
just to name
actually,
it-
I also wonder sometimes you're passing in the streets, you find the lights are on, Then another day you find there are no lights. Then you start
Right.
wondering, actually, what is happening? So there is that situation of paying for those lights.
Precisely.
Okay, so they are under ZESCO.
Of course, we have to buy units,
Yeah,
and then we power
okay.
the streets.
All right.
So now you have to match the two, because the council, it's not all the time when there's income.
Yes,
There's
sure.
most of the cases there's deficits, there's all these issues which of course we'll address as we go forward
Yes.
to see that we can bridge the gap. So moving forward, those are some of the things we'll implement in the
Okay.
council with, of course, the mayor, who's our mother.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us. She's currently gone for review.
Sure. Okay.
So we'll put her in prayers.
All right.
And of course, we've got a great team of all the 9 councillors, including the ones in Lukasha constituency. Of course, we're one big team who speak the same voice towards fostering development.
Okay, all right. So perhaps there is also need for you as ward councillors to have those meetings where you look at what should be prioritized in as much as we are talking about development. Okay, so you've talked of the road network, the lights. That comes to infrastructure development. Perhaps when the youths hear there is this 25 million, what excites them is, okay, we are going to benefit from this amount of money. What is expected from this money with regard to the youths? I heard you talked of empowerment, and most of the youths are wondering, how are we going to get this empowerment?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, there was formation of those elections going on in the 10 zones to elect zonal representatives under the Ward Development Committee. So those people have been voted in by the community, of course, who form the Ward Development Committee, including myself.
Okay.
So there's representation from the ministries, and there's representation, of course, from the disabled and other sectors, of course, of the community. So we'll have orientation. After that's done, there'll be a call for youths to submit projects, to submit business plans with regards to what they want to achieve.
Okay.
And I want to take this opportunity to use this platform to actually announce that during the course of the year, we'll hold youth entrepreneurship workshops.
Okay.
These workshops will equip the youths with knowledge on those that want to go into farming, with best farming practices, entrepreneurship skills. Because first and foremost, before you actually want to acquire the empowerment, what exactly do you intend on doing with that empowerment? Do you have a business plan? Do you know what's involved? So these workshops will give a platform to the youths. Of course, they'll be free of charge.
Sure.
For them to gain the knowledge on the write-ups. How do you write a business plan? What's involved? There's ZRA. You need to pay turnover tax.
Sure.
You need. There's a whole lot of involvement with regards to youth empowerment.
Okay.
So most people want to cry for empowerment. You ask a gentleman, okay, if we give you 50,000, what are you going to do with it? So what exactly are you trying to, what are you telling me? So being on that committee, I'm going to be looking at viable, sustainable, viable projects and plans, so that 2 years down the line, the person who had a peanut butter making small machine is actually taking and exporting to Kasumbalesa, and the market is broad. So we have to look at those aspects when it comes to empowerment as well. Viability, sustainability. How long is this project going to go for? What intentions? Is this person going to, is it a going concern? Because if it's a going concern, then you are happy enough to know that even 2 years down the line, these things will still be serving the community. It will create employment, and of course economy. The economy, of course, the GDP will, of course, will now. The inflation rate is still a double digit. So how do we curb that? It's not everything that the government has to do. You can't just sit down and wait for the government to bring to go and plant maize for you, for them to go and excavate a fish pond. There's certain activities we can do as well locally. we're blessed with a lot of resources. There's
That
water,
is true.
abundant water.
Mm.
There's agriculture. And to just say one thing, the youths always think agriculture is for old-fashioned old people.
Yes.
There's so much money, I can confirm with you. So
Okay.
those are some of the aspects we'll try and
Look
tap
at.
into and try and encourage the youths and see that we all forge ahead. Because once
Okay.
there's productivity,
Mm.
we'll have income.
Sure,
Once
that
we
is
have
true.
income, I mean, why do you remember there was a certain point last year
Mm.
where there was lack of onions
Yes,
and
yes.
potatoes? I mean, is that seriously going to?
And we have Northern Province, which is open to
Onions were
good
coming from
land.
as far as Kabwe. I
Exactly.
mean, we have land and water and resources. Why should we be subjected to such terms and conditions?
Yes.
So we all have to just unite
Mm.
and see that we forge ahead together.
Yes, and you've talked of this plan of youths coming up with plans, and you've talked of the seminar. Perhaps you would agree with me that last year or these past years, there were a lot of youths who would have loved to be empowered, but the know-how of how to go about all this process, many people did not know it, and I'm glad that you've mentioned that there will be these seminars that will teach youths on how to come up with business plans, what plans are feasible, and all that. So perhaps that is what the youths need, because I'm sure there is a lot. When people just hear of there will be youth empowerment, everybody's geared to say, I need to get this empowerment. But others, personally, I've had people ask me to say, Amanje, how do nkasenda shani in empowerment? I want to be part of this, but I don't know how to go about it. And others start thinking, fyari bari basala kare abafuna okusenda, which might not be true, because some people do not just know how to go about these things. All right, so that is to the youths. And what do you think is based when we are considering this CDF? What is based for the women? What needs to be done with regard with the women benefiting from this?
Well, first and foremost, what we're trying to really divert from is the aspect of individuality, where
Okay.
one individual wants to access a whole lot of money. So we are encouraging people to register cooperatives, clubs,
Yes.
and register partnerships.
Mm.
Because then, if we're going to give 50,000 to, say, a club of 50 people,
Yes.
I mean, how many families are we feeding?
There is a
Compared
lot.
to giving one individual who wants to start a Salaola business
Yes.
with the 50,000. So we, I mean, if you weigh the two,
They-
so there's those aspects which, of course, we're trying to address.
Mm.
So there's all those issues that we'll have to tackle and
Yes.
see that people have a viable direction. Because what we don't want is misappropriation of funds.
Yes.
We don't want funds to go in the wrong hands, people who do not know exactly how to use the funds.
Mm.
So it has to foster development. So
Yes.
that's the agenda. Because
Okay.
that CDF is not mine, it's not yours, it's for the community. It doesn't belong to a political party per se to say, no, it belongs to PF or it belongs
Yeah.
to Youth PND or SP party. It belongs to the general
The
populace.
general populace.
So whoever has a plan, has a vision, they want to work, they need development, they need to change their way of living, they want to foster ahead, they want development, we are going to be helpful.
All right, interesting. And of course, since we've talked of many people not knowing how to go about things, how accessible is it? How accessible are you as ward councillors? How can people get to you? Perhaps there is a procedure that someone has to follow, because we've heard of so many people complaining to say, ward councillor tabamoneka tatwa bamonapo, maybe after just voting them in, they are nowhere to be seen. Shaishbanefyo ninga bakwanisha okubamona. How easy is it, or maybe what procedure should the youths follow, or the people that want to have an audience with you as their ward councillor?
We're very open, we're very available.
Okay.
So you don't need an appointment, you don't
Sure.
need to write a letter a week before. We're very accessible.
And wait for the
very-
approval.
No. We're very accessible to give all the information to guide the youths on how to go about with registration of cooperatives and clubs.
Yes.
So moving forward, I would make this announcement that after the orientation for the Ward Development Committee, we're going to form platforms. We're going to go on radio flat out to just to give word of advice and to give guidance with regards to the know-how, what to do, and how to access these funds, where you can get. For example, if one wants to have a cooperative done, they have to go to the Ministry of Small and Medium Development Enterprise.
Yes.
If one wants a partnership, they can go to PACRA. There's a club formation. So there's always these platforms where we can interact. And of course, we're very available. So it's
techakutina
no,
ukamupe walembaleta somewhere, then vachite approve. That's when you can go and see the councilor. All right. So right about now, let us go for our last break, and when we come back, we continue with the program. And remember to give us your contribution with regards to today's topic on how we can develop Kasama. What do you think needs to be done? And of course, right about now, we'll go for a short break, and please keep those comments coming.
Lono Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As Lono Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than Lono Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at Lono ZM.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, right about now, let me just go through some of the comments that you've been sending. Remember to send those comments. And okay, so we have all right, I missed that one, but please keep those comments coming, and we shall be reading them. What do you think really needs to be done in terms of developing Kasama? Which area do you think should be tackled, as we are talking about the CDF that he has mentioned that it is underway? And right about now, we have Lois Chikumbi who is saying watching, and we have Mr. Jailos Mapalo saying, what plans do you have for the healthcare business? Okay, I believe that is a question from Mr. Mapalo. Before I allow you to answer that one, we have Chewe Bwalia saying, what has happened to the youths who appeared last year with CEEC and Youths and Sports Development last year? Are they going to be given? I don't know if you understand her question. But let us start with Mr. Jailos Mapalo is saying, what plans do you have for the healthcare business? I don't know what's your contribution on that.
I think with regards to Mr. Mapalo's question,
yes,
of course, through the CDF, we're taking in applications not only from cooperatives and from groups.
Yes.
So there's also individuals who are in business who want upscaling.
Okay.
Who probably want to, for example, there's been a group I've been in talks with who want to get into recycling.
Okay.
So, of course, if you look at the setup of Kasama, there's a lot of trash.
Exactly.
So, and they're non-biodegradable, meaning for them to decompose, those are years.
Yes.
So already, if you look at the airport road where the council has a dump site, it's not a good site.
Yes.
So if we look at recycling, what will stop me to go and knock on Trade King's door to say, no, we're making water bottles. Can you buy from us? We're producing this. So of course there's a whole value chain going on with regards to how we can execute some of these programs. So Mr. Mapalo, I'm looking forward to seeing your application when the WDC committee sits to see how you can upscale your business and help the community at large.
So in short, somebody just has to bring in their application and explain exactly what they need,
Precisely.
and if it's feasible, if it's benefiting the community as well as that individual, their plans are welcome.
Precisely.
It's not just about cooperatives and clubs.
No.
Even individual plans are welcome.
Precisely.
Okay, all right. I hope, Mr. Mapalo, your question has been answered. I'm failing to understand this particular question from Mr. Chewe Bwaleo. We're saying, what has happened to the youths who appeared last year with CEEC and Youths and Sports Development last year? Are they going to be given? I don't know.
Okay, I think I do understand the question.
Okay.
With regards to those applications, of course, there's a change of government.
Yes.
So every government has their policies. So with regards to the current government's policies with regards to CEC and the empowerment strategies,
Yes.
we would have to sit down and consult with CEC to
Yes.
see what their plan is moving forward.
Okay.
How are they going to approach the whole empowerment situation?
Okay.
And of course, there are those people that acquired facilities from CEC.
Yes.
So of course, they have to pay off. Some of them were grants, some of them were loans. So
Yes.
depending on the structure of the agreement
What
had,
they got, sure.
of course, we'll have to see and wait for the guidelines, because we can't
Okay.
start blowing our own trumpet. without
Yes,
the guidelines.
confirming from.
Precisely.
All right. Perhaps again, just adding on the question that Mr. Chewe asked, are those that applied for those funds and they weren't given, are they allowed to apply for the new funds that are coming in?
Of course they are.
Okay.
They're more than free to do that.
Okay.
Because if that's the constituency development fund, so it has nothing to do with
With the CEC, okay.
it's every individual is at liberty to apply.
We show you how the face of Kasama has changed each and every moment. Our production crew has now advanced in streaming live in full HD up to 4K. Lono Studios is well equipped for the service. We have 4K cameras for high resolution, DJI drone for aerial view, live streaming video switcher, gimbal for smooth rotation of an object, and many more equipments. You can book us for live streaming to render your services in sport activities, church services, road shows, corporate meetings and workshops, social gatherings, and many more adventure activities.
Right, sorry for that interruption. We ended on the notes about those that applied for those other funds, and there are new funds coming in, Constituents Development Fund. Are those people allowed to apply again for these particular funds?
Yes, they are. Everyone is at liberty to apply
Okay.
for the funds, and of course, consideration will sit as a committee. It's not my decision alone,
Yes.
because there's representatives from the 10 zones.
Okay.
There's a representative from Lukulu South. There's a representative from Lualuo. There's a representative from Mulenga. So of course, decisions will be based on the community's issues.
Okay.
So we are not going to impose. Me as a councillor, I'm not going to come up with projects based on what I feel
is right
needs to
for
be
the
addressed
people.
from Mulenga Hill. It's the community to tell me
Okay.
what
Through that
needs
particular person coming from
precisely,
there.
precisely. But that individual again is not going to have the independence to go alone,
Okay.
because we don't want a situation where he comes with a story based on personal gain.
Yes.
So as a councillor, I need to go on the ground and see to say what's going on.
Okay.
Look at the Bush Babies Road. It needs upgrading. It's been in a terrible state
Condition.
for the longest of time. So it's
Okay.
plain to see. It's things which we can see and actually do believe that they need attention, which will be addressed.
So those people that are sitting in as in to represent the zones, they are supposed to be known by the people they are representing, right?
Yes.
So it is in order that they sit down with the people and find out exactly what that particular zone needs.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay, so if you are watching me, you need to know who those people are in your own zone, and I believe this should encourage most people. And this leads me to the question that I wanted to ask actually, like how can the people be part of what is happening in their communities? How can they be part of the development we are talking about?
Okay, first and foremost, the WDC representatives who have been put in place will have a platform
Okay.
where they'll interact with people, have radio programs,
Yes.
will visit churches. Of course, the clergy have to play a major role,
Yes.
and to see how we can foster development together.
Yes.
So it's a collective thing. It's not going to be an individual situation where CDF comes in, only a few people hear about it, and the next minute funds are finished.
Yes.
It has to reach every individual
So
to know what
it's an open book.
it's an open book. It
Okay.
belongs to everyone
Oh.
to apply, because it belongs to the people.
Yes.
That's the key word. It's for the people.
okay.
Yes.
It has to be known to say, okay, the funds are in, and
Exactly.
this is what is being discussed.
These are the guidelines.
Okay,
Precisely.
all right, interesting. Okay, and as I believe I have a few comments. Do I have a few comments, new comments coming in? Because I want to say what is your word to the people out there? What is your encouragement to the community, Kasama at large, and to be specific, Mulilansolo Ward? What assurance should they get from you as their ward councillor?
Well, first and foremost, people should not shun away from applying, from wanting to access funds which belong to them. So it's your right, and that money belongs to the community. So everyone should participate and take part in wanting to access these funds.
Okay.
Then, should people access these funds, please take good care and make sure you follow the guidelines for which you applied for the funds for. Because in time and memorial, there's been a situation where people access funds and there's nothing to show for. 2-3 months down the line, there's been nothing. There's been certain groups which have been given empowerment packages, chickens.
Yes.
You go there 6 months later, and there's 2 chickens.
Na project
Everything has
yari
been-
shimaka.
they've eaten everything. So how do we? So we need confidence in you. I'm your servant. You are my employers. Whatever you say goes. But we need to all move at the same pace with the guidelines. Because
Yes.
without guidelines, we'll not achieve anything.
Okay.
So even those that want to access the funds will have to go by the guidelines which will be provided by the local government, of course.
Okay.
So if we all join our hands, we work together, we will achieve great things.
Sure. And one last comment is coming from Lois Chikumbi, who is saying, good show. Our roads in Mukulumpe too are so pathetic, especially that it's rainy season. We have tried to maintain a bit as residents, but we need assistance from the council. Kindly help us. That is one comment from Lois. What is your addition to what she has just talked about?
With regards to that issue, I received a call from Mr. Kalaba
Yes.
from Ministry of Health, who's a resident. So Mukulumpe was moved to Julia Chikamoneka.
Okay.
So after the call, I managed to link them up with the ward councillor.
For
who's
Julia Chikamoneka.
Exactly.
Okay.
Madam Agnes was actually more than keen to help, and as I speak,
Yes.
they had interaction to see how they can forge ahead. But
Okay.
looking at the plans that I have for Mulilansolo, of course, which I'll share with my fellow councillors, because we all
Yes.
have to work together
Yes.
and
if-
share ideas
Yes,
with
exactly.
how we can foster development.
Sure. Because
So-
this is all for Kasama, not just
Precisely, so-
Mulilansolo.
precisely.
Because
So
what better good is it if we can
If
see
the
good roads?
CBD is
in-
okay here, but Mlenga Hill.
Yes.
So, for example, with the CBD, I intend to put in a request, because if you remember very well, there was a pavement exercise which started.
Yes.
The Kasama paving, exercise.
Yes.
That exercise stopped. The machinery is parked at RDA. So what's keeping us from using that machinery? Because it's cement and crushed stone to make pavers and pave our town.
Yes.
So if those aspects are put in place and the right authorities, we all join hands and forces towards achieving all these things, I think we'll go a long way.
Sure. I believe, Miss Lois, you've actually understood. In short, your issue is underway. We believe something will be done as soon as possible. And I believe I should encourage youths to understand these things, such as where do they belong exactly. They should know who their leaders are, because that is something we just take as in for granted. You are living in a place where you don't even know which ward you are in. I've met a lot of youths whom you can ask, which ward are you from? They don't know.
I think just to add up on that, before the whole demarcation came into place,
yes,
Mukulumpe was part of Mulilanso.
Yes.
So after the subdivisions, inclusion of Chimbele and Dukulu South,
yes,
Kasama boys, Mukulumpe was taken to Julia. So I think that information has to also be taken out to the general population, so that they all understand and know the boundaries and know the know-hows on how to get about certain things and certain areas.
Sure. Interesting. Maybe your last words to the youths. I know you've talked about it, but perhaps your encouragement, your anything you'd like to add, in as much as we are winding up with our program.
United we stand, divided we fall. Imiti kula empanga. It's our turn. It's our chance. This is Kasama for us. We shouldn't wait for people to come from outside to come and drive developmental issues with regards to how we can also foster these things. So we can also do it. We'll also do it. So let's encourage each other. Let's work together to foster development and to see that most of these issues which we face in our communities are addressed.
Okay, so maybe just one last comment from Thomas Piri, who's saying the councillor is fully understood. The issue of empowerment has been broken down into understandable means. If youths are to benefit, hello? Okay, if youths are to benefit from government funds, the system requires cleaning up. How has the councillor supported youths of Mulilansolo Ward to apply for the announced grant? More than 5,000 youths applied for the grant in Kasama, including civil servants. What mechanism has been instituted to ensure that only vulnerable youths who faced acute shocks receive the grant? Okay, then he continues on and says, what robust designed entrepreneurial activities have been planned to stretch the youth understanding on youth community development matters in Mulilansolo? I believe you tackled this one to say there has been a plan for the conference or rather seminars that will be held in the future. And how often will trainings and assessments be conducted to see whether targeted individuals actually qualify to use funds as should be and as expected? Okay, is there a monitoring and evaluation team at ward level to ensure things are moving in the right course? Councillor, if things are done correctly, everyone will smile. Remember, speed kills, so let us take a little time to do things the right way. So one of the things that he has talked about is there a monitoring system to ensure that indeed those that are going to benefit from these funds need them? Yes.
Firstly, to start with, like I had said earlier, there was formation of what development committees.
Yes.
Of course, there's representation from the ministries, representation from the disabled, and of course the elected zonal members from every area.
Yes.
So there'll be orientation based on the guidelines. So the council is not at liberty to form guidelines and to make side teams of evaluators and monitors. The guidelines come from the Ministry of Local Government.
Okay.
So we have to implement what is guided.
Okay.
So the moment we start going the opposite direction of what the government is trying to put in place, then we're working against, not with.
The government.
So we have to work with the government and make sure that the implementations, the policies which they bring, which will have to foster development, are adhered to. Because once we start doing the exact opposite, then we'll be precisely, then we will not achieve anything, because then they'll cut off funding. And then Kasama will continue being at the same pace where all we do is talk and there's nothing to show for.
Sure.
Precisely.
Then he adds on the last question. So where is the councillor's office located?
Okay. We are currently trying to open an office next to Machi Auto Spares.
Okay.
Moving forward, I think myself and the Honorable Councillor for Buseko Ward,
Yes.
Honorable Angel Msonda, I think will be stationed there. There's enough space.
Okay.
Other than that, at the council, you can get to the council and we'll definitely be contacted for any information with regards to the community.
Sure. There is another comment. Okay. All right. So I believe most of the things have been talked of, and we have one last. Some comments were coming through from YouTube, and okay, there is Tembo saying, watching you from Lusaka, please. We need investors so that jobs are created from Kasama, because for now we can't even visit Kasama because there is nothing there. Okay. All right. I believe this is the only comments that I didn't read. Talking of investors.
Precisely.
Investors are needed in Kasama.
Precisely.
People are running away from Kasama City saying there is nothing for me here.
Precisely. But I think that mentality should not be entertained. I mean, because you don't have, of course we do need investors to come through, but we have to also start from somewhere.
Yes.
So precisely. I mean, we have resources. Problem that I have actually noticed around is that people are not very productive. You know, I would rather spend the whole day on radio than be in the field trying to be more productive with regards to how I can feed my family. So we need to refrain from actions of more talk and have actions of work and implementation going. Indeed.
Right. Okay. All right. I believe this is where we are going to wrap it up for today's interview. I hope some of the questions that you've been thinking of, or those questions that you've had, have been answered. And remember, you can still comment what you think needs to be done, and these comments, I'm sure, will be read and will be taken into consideration. If they need to be heard by the Honorable Councillor, we are going to make sure that we take them where they are actually needed. So I hope you've actually enjoyed our program, and of course you've been educated as well as informed about what needs to be done in order to develop Kasama. Remember to actually share this live stream, and of course like our Facebook page, and of course we need your support as Lono TV so that we can be bringing you more of such programs. From me and the entire production crew, it's bye-bye for today.
Lono Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As Lono Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than Lono Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at Lono ZM. We show you how the face of Kasama has changed each and every moment. Our production crew has now advanced in streaming live in full HD up to 4K. Lono Studios is well equipped for the service. We have 4K cameras for high resolution, DJI drone for aerial view, live streaming video switcher, gimbal for smooth rotation over an object, and many more equipments. You can book us for live streaming to render your services in sport activities, church services, road shows, corporate meetings and workshops, social gatherings, and many more adventure activities. Book your session now on 0973-173461. Visit or like our Facebook page at Lono TV. Love ain't nobody.